On today's Minute of the Apes, we're on a time schedule, and I'm telling the boys, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go.
Exercise with an ape maker, human down. Then talks. Nothing is of a divine bound. We are determined to know what the apes want, war or peace.
The only good human is a dead human.
And if it is man's destiny one day to be dominated, then, oh, please, God, let him be dominated by such as you.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time, and I do my best not to say this so fast that you can't understand what I'm saying, but I did look up and think, oh my god, we've only got an hour left, we've got 2 episodes to go, and we want to try to get an in-between in, so I'm going to do this the whole time. I'm going to speak without breathing.
And you did that. You normally flub it when you try that. That was amazing. Good job.
Thank you. I killed that. Thank you. Thank you so
who's
much.
a big boy?
I should have. I didn't know whether to call you my daddy or my dad at that point. I can't remember what we're doing here.
Oh.
All right. So we are on minute 44. Sean, tell us what's going on with this minute.
Hey, Todd. So,
fuck off.
We're going to start minute 44 with Frank throwing down his ladder and ends with the governor getting the latest disobedience figures.
All right, let's take a listen to minute 44 of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
One dozen steaks, New York cut for Mrs. Van Tal. Add 1 gallon of 2 gallons of kerosene.
Mr. Governor, the latest ape disobedience figures.
There's been a marked increase in property damage. Couldn't all be carelessness, Mr. McDonald. Arrange for full distribution of the Achilles list immediately. Copies to each police precinct, including the perimeter ones.
As in minute 44, we have a courtyard with the gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, imported apes, Caesar, and a planet's worth of humans minus 1 Armando.
Splat, splat, splat.
So this was like, okay, so Lisa does her weak defiance of limply dropping a book. We have some trash cans being knocked over. We have some butter knives being stolen. And so the next biggest act of defiance is saying, no, I'm not going to light a cigarette. These are the wimpiest acts of defiance ever.
They are, and I can't help but watch that moment right when he's refusing it and think of, God, here I go with another Star Wars comment, but when they rack the frame for the Tusken Raider, you know, where he's going, and he does it. If we were to rack this frame of the ape, you could almost, if you went from gaping ape, watching him to like dancing ape, I mean, if you go watch that moment, it is it's almost like Lisa's stilted toss. It's a stilted slam down.
Well, speaking of Sean's building to a crescendo, we end with, he put shoe polish on somebody's sock. Oh my God, guys, what do we do?
Fuck that. The bigger travesty is that he's wearing white socks with black pants and black shoes.
Richard, you should have been complaining about this.
He was wearing mixed textiles. No, it was.
Well, that's
what you're ending on. You should have ended with the busboy and the knives.
Yes,
that's what you should have ended on.
That would have crescendoed more.
If we had seen these back with the knocking over of stuff, if it built into this, but. It's such a weird. It's like going from third gear into reverse. It's just.
For what it's worth, I could not find the shoe sign moment in the script. Now, granted, it was a jumbled mess of where everything was, but I could not find that moment where he defiantly puts polish on the guy's sock. I don't. Oh, by the way, I guess if you're listening to the audio, you wouldn't have actually been able to hear that moment. After that, Frank refuses to light it. There's a scene of a gentleman getting his shoes polished, and Caesar in the background of the shot, behind the two, framed between the leg and this shoe shine ape. The shoe shine ape then takes the polish and then begins putting polish on this gentleman's sock, who doesn't even notice. Like he's so unaffected, he didn't realize that the ape's grazing his ankle now. But it's the end scene before we go back down into the washroom or cellar where the apes have assembled knives. And there's just no impact ending on that moment to the scene of cutlery.
Well, it's also so you have to have the white sock so you can see the polish smear on it. I understand why they do that. There are liquid polishes. You could have had them pour the liquid on the foot just to soak it, something like that. But what's even weirder to me is that Caesar is just standing there. When it cuts to it, he is just standing. Why not have him walk? You're already here. You're already going to do the whole zoom into him. Have him walk to a point. You have focus pullers and whatnot that are talented enough that they mark it off with a tape measure. They know where his mark is. They can zoom to it. It is such a static, boring shot.
So I couldn't find it in the script. So they're in the shopping center running around going, what acts of defiance can we suddenly capture that the editor may be able to use? I mean, that's what the scene was to me.
Yeah. What acts of defiance can we really reset?
What can we do quickly in the shopping center so we give the editor some more things?
Hey, Richard, you're wearing black pants, black shoes. What if I take Sean's white socks, you put them on, and we smear something on, and then we're going to do it in one shot, okay? Caesar, you're just going to stand here. You go ahead, start polishing. I'm going to zoom into him. I'll call, and then I'm going to zoom back out, and then you do it. We don't even see the reaction of the ape looking at Caesar. When you're shooting with daylight, and you're using, again, what's called a rubber lens where you can do those back and forth, there is no reason that they could not have simply gone, okay, did we get those shots? Okay, flip around and get the reaction of this ape. You're already exposing for that daylight. It is not hard to adjust that. It's not hard to grab that shot. That sequence needs the reaction. The sequence is not about Caesar. It's about the apes that react to Caesar. And we don't even get the reaction here that ape does it. We see their action, but we don't get a reaction. That's how this is built, and it's just, of all these moments, that's the worst one.
And then Caesar teleports back down to that washroom again with no transition, no nothing.
Right.
He goes from outside, inside. Oh no, outside, inside. No, outside, inside a restaurant to a cellar to back outside to back in the cellar again. And it's just
back in the cellar again.
Back in the cellar again. And then for whatever reason, like there's supposed to be this intensity of apes bringing knives, and the first shot we get is of a murder strainer, and him jokingly going, "I can't do anything with this murder strainer," so he tosses it aside, like, "Oh, this is a stupid one."
This is our little moment of levity of, see, all our apes are not equally smart.
But it was unnecessary. It takes away the tension even more. The fact they try to put a little bit of comedy in there.
And you got you brought me the right thing. And he looks over the other guy. This is not the right thing.
No, this is not.
Yeah. But if you want that to be funny, you need to, like, you look on that table where Caesar's writing on the red stuff. You can see there's a couple of revolvers. There's steak knives. If he were to see these actual weapons, and then pan over and here's a strainer, and then we get Roddy's face, looking, that becomes funny. But as it is, it's just kind of stupid. It's like, okay, I got dumb ape. At least at that point, he could pick up, he could teach his apes, and he could hold up the revolver. Yes. And then the strainer, no, anything like that. But it's just a stupid insertion that, to your point, it kind of kills the intensity of the moment.
Well, I had mentioned on Tuesday, was it Tuesday? Let me look at this.
The days are.
I had mentioned on Tuesday the red card outside the restaurant where Caesar takes a pen and it says 1 ounce of steaks, and he writes in 1 ounce of kerosene on this red card. Well, now we get the red card, and the red card is delivered by a gorilla who brings it down. Roddy sees it, and we actually get a shot of it. Mrs. Van Thal, 2837, 1 dozen steaks, New York cut. And so Caesar, instead of seeing the writing of Caesar saying 1 ounce of kerosene, he actually has to say it out loud, right? He says 1 ounce, and then he goes, what, no, 2 ounces?
2 gallons of
2
kerosene.
gallons kerosene is that what he says? Hang on, I lost my quote. Yeah, and 2 cans.
2 cans, that's right. Yeah.
And 2 cans of kerosene, and he has to say it out loud so we know that what he's writing versus just visually showing it, which is fine because I don't like to take time watching people write things.
So I'm watching that moment, and then the next things we go to are back to Kooky Chimp as he
who's afraid of fire originally.
But okay, let's evolve him. Now he's not afraid of fire. Let's say this is his act of defiance, but that should be instead of
stealing knives, he should have been stealing lighter fluid and lighters and matches and stuff like that.
Well, what I was going to say was that it should be the crescendo of the defiant moment.
Right.
When everybody's knocking over garbage, throwing books, his act of defiance, lighting the fire, is him. We should, now to Sean's point, we shouldn't even seen him stealing a knife. It doesn't work as the propulsion for the rest of them, still weapons. His should be the final act of defiance as he lights a fire and burns the place down. Ooh, he's now evolved. He's not afraid anymore. He's going to do things because of Caesar's leadership. Then you cut to Breck and McDonald talking about what's going on. Then you can have all the moments maybe somehow where Caesar starts teaching them how to use the red notes to steal things and get weapons. It is so disjointed as they try to push this all together. If they had just stuck to what is my montage story telling me that the apes begin to defy, humans notice, because characters need to do that. I have action, reaction, new action, reaction. Instead, we've just got a jumble of ideas.
And the fire also wasn't in the script. The use of the busboy creating the fire.
Oh, really?
That and the shoe sign were not in the script. I do like, kind of ending on this note with the fire,
right?
To build back into Breck, right? I mean, that's they created this thing to kind of cut back to Breck basically saying chaos.
Yeah, but if he did say chaos after that, then that entire sequence makes sense, that they're acting up and they're doing things they shouldn't. Chaos. Well, now when you said that, now that's escalated. The humans are watching for the chaos, and Caesar's now down in the dungeon grabbing things, and the next thing is rebellion.
I mean, what if we'd inverted even just editing this particular scene? If we'd inverted I actually want to pull your point with the Frank actually stealing a knife. That would have been more relevant than the busboy stealing a knife. If the busboy's going to start a fire, it would have been cool to see Frank steal a knife, the busboy start a fire, and then go down to the washroom where we have the knives.
Yeah.
And one thing they have not set with us is a sense of time. How long has this been going on? Is this a day? Is this a week? Is this a month? If this is all happening in a day, you're going, all right, this is bullshit. If it's happening over a month, you're going, is that too long? I mean, I don't know how long this has been going on, so I don't have a sense of how much this is building, how bad this is affecting the humans, any of that kind of stuff.
I agree. You go from all the shots of Caesar using his phantom powers to make people rebel, and they are outside of the chimp stealing the knife. Every other one of them that I can think of is a daytime shot. So to me, it feels like it's all in the same day. And then the shots down in the basement they feel nighttime because they're not allowing any sunlight to come through windows in the basement. And I think that's kind of one of the problems and maybe that's why they inserted them, was to give it the feeling that it took place over time.
What you should have done then is your first Bateman shot has Caesar and 3 apes. And then your next Bateman shot has Caesar and 20 apes, and then your last one is Caesar and its pack, so that you can see that it's growing. So then you get a sense of time, that it's not just everybody's down here and everybody's rebelling all on the same day.
Right. And, so if you build that, let's say that these are 2 separate sequences. We have the sequence of the rebellion. I think we would all agree that we want to lose the shoe shine moment. That just does not work. Yeah. But if we had the tossing of the book, or if we have the dumping of the trash.
Well, let's put it this way. Is a shoe shine moment the equivalent of giving the little strainer moment? Oh, look, I'm doing my rebellion. Yeah, you're not really rebellion. Thanks for helping.
So if you had the toss of the book, if you had the trash can, and you had the fire, you've built a sequence. Then if we go to Sean's idea of we have a few, Then we build another sequence after we've inserted the thing of saying this is chaos.